We're back with Illinois congressional candidate Eric Sorensen. It's one thing to be passionate about the issues, and I know you are, as is everyone in this race, but it's another to be able to get into the weeds of policy and compromise and really getting into the sausage-making process that is legislating. What approach would you take with Republicans when it seems there's a brick wall on so many issues that keep anything from getting done?
Yeah, we've got to this huge divide in our politics right now. And one thing that I look back on my years as a meteorologist and as a communicator, it was being able to bridge the divide. Just a couple of weeks ago, I talked to a gentleman. We were getting petitions in Kewanee, and the gentleman walked up and he looked at my clipboard and he said, "Oh, I'm more of a Republican, Eric." And I said, "That's all right." I said, "What do you do for a living?" He is a farmer, and I said, "Oh, you're on the front lines of climate. You know that, you see what's going on." And he said, "Yeah, but Eric, I'm not sure what we should do about it." And I said, "Well, that should be my job. My job could be to find out what we need to do about it and then communicate right back with you." And so when he said that, he grabbed my clipboard, and then he said, this was the best part, Jim, "I'm going to go back." We were in Kewanee, but he was in Prophetstown. He said, "I'm going to talk to some of my friends in Prophetstown, and I'll vote for you." And that's what this is about. It's about connecting the people together, being able to talk with one another. So when we talk about our politics being broken, I'm not saying that I can solve it, but I know the communities here, I know the people here, and we just need to talk with one another, because when we start talking about our values, we're going to find that there's more things alike than different.
One thing to talk to your constituents, and one thing to talk to your political rivals and say if you get to Capitol Hill. One of those issues you just are talking about, arguably, that is has that partisan brick wall, of course, is climate change, the first issue on your campaign website. But a big, you go so far to claim on your website that it isn't a partisan issue. Maybe you say it probably shouldn't be a partisan issue, but your statement says it isn't a partisan issue. But a big chunk of the country doesn't believe it's real, or that people are responsible for it. Democrats are pushing an agenda that would spend hundreds of billions of dollars on green energy, electric cars, solar, wind energy policies. Do you agree with that agenda, and how do you make the case to voters who say the country is just spending too much, period?
We've got to look ahead, Jim, not just to the problems that we have today, but it's the problems that we're going to give to our kids and our grandkids. And what we need to make sure that we're doing is decarbonizing our economy. And it's going to take hard work, but also it's being able to communicate that we're already seeing disasters. 7 of our top 10 floods on the Mississippi River have happened since the Great Flood of '93. We've got more flash flooding that happens, more tornadoes out of season, and they're affecting people. People are paying for them. We're paying more in the cost of food. I was just at the Aldi in Rock Island last week, talked to a lady named Mary, and she said, "Eric, why are the prices so expensive? Gallon of milk's now $3.35. The cost of everything is going up because of climate change. If we're not going to take
a variety of factors, certainly.
If we're not going to take serious steps, then we're not going to have a way to solve it when we get into the future. We've got to get that ball rolling."
So you say it's okay to spend the money, and how do you make the case to people to say it's still too much money?
Well, we need to make sure that, obviously, that we're not overspending, but to make sure that we're making the right decisions as we go forward. And there's going to be 10,000 decisions with climate change. There's no silver bullet. And that's why we need the meteorologist in Washington to make sense of this, so that when we come back to our communities and say, this is what we need to focus on, it's coming from a person that the people trust.
An offshoot of climate policy, one certainly that is a touchy one for the people in this region, the renewable fuel standard. It's an issue important to farmers in this region who grow the corn for ethanol. The EPA under the Biden administration could announce later this year changes to that standard. Some new research suggests ethanol might contribute more to global warming than straight gasoline. I guess, I don't know if you read any of that research. Where do you stand on that policy? How much room is there for ethanol and the current renewable standard in climate policy?
Well, certainly we look at ethanol as being a lifeblood for our farmers right now, to be able to have that source of income for ethanol. And when we look at the mode of transportation in the future, the electronic vehicles, we've got to look at our dependence on ethanol. We're going to have to change where we look, what our farmers are doing. But I believe that farmers are going to be part of the solution of climate change, not part of the problem.
No, we have a long way to go to the primary day. Certain List campaign. Eric Sorensen, hope we talk again. Thanks for the conversation.
Thank you very much, Jim.